Teams are in the ascendancy, but picked up right where they left off. May the 1st.
Well, I think a big part of that re-signing a contract. I think a lot of people had just assumed he would go overseas and test that, but I think he was, he made the decision because he knew he would play here. At a time when I think coming up for Jurgen Klinsmann in that system, I think playing time for Bill Hamid is more important than maybe going overseas at this stage of his career.
Yeah, less scared of doing here.
At a time when I think coming up for Jurgen Klinsmann in that system, I think playing time for Bill Hamid is more important than maybe going overseas at this stage of his career.
Yeah, less scared of doing here.
At a time when I think coming up for Jurgen Klinsmann in that system, I think playing time for Bill Hamid is more.
She's a decent one too. Going back across goal from Franklin. Almost found Pontius. It squirmed behind.
Though from Sean Franklin, but was going to head it across. Time defended.
Now can Taylor Kemp come up with the right delivery from the dead ball? Fourth corner for DC, and it comes. Aviano was peeling away beyond the far post. Or it fell to Franklin. Michael Farfan. Quite happening for Lewis Silva tonight, is it?
Now, you saw a couple touches, I think, in the first half, but I think Orlando's job is just started their defensive line 25, 30 yards further up. That's really limited Pontius and Silva up front.
No limit to Luke Bowden's run there. He had the freedom of the park on the left-hand side. But
the way to break that, though, Adrian, for DC United is some urgency. The moment the ball turns over, get going, especially when Orlando pushes numbers forward. And I think it's just been a little too deliberate for DC United getting.
Clint. No, now Ramos. Good crisp, quick pivot and change of direction. Looking away to the left-hand side. Seren. Ramos. Harrison Heath, good give and go. Harrison Heath goes down. That was behind the penalty area now.
And also in this position, great work from Orlando going forward. Hey, Bobby.
Now then.
Well, we saw this, didn't we, in the home opener? Breck Shea, having a little bit of a discussion. Now Breck Shea can say, hey, by the way, did you see my goal in Switzerland?
Yes. Well, he joked about it after. I don't think the number 10's going to give up any free kicks, but you know what? He might.
I don't know. Kaká then says to Breck Shea, yeah, I'm FIFA World Player of the Year, by the way.
Kitchen. Well, Ben Olsen can wait no further. Before making a switch, it's Chris Rolfe who comes on. 2 goals and 3 assists for him so far this season. Now Kaká. That was carefully done by Kofi Apare. Spurs touch. That was carefully done by Kofi Apare. Spurs touch. That was carefully done by Kofi Apare. Back to his own, back to his best. Earlier in the early part of this season. Spurs touch. That was still added more consistency.
Body's here, body's here!
Well, I also it's a player that Ben Olsen has put in a good spot to succeed 5 games as a goal. And Rolfe is actually a compliment to a go-to attacker, but he may be arguably in the top 3 or 4 best third attackers, particularly in these spots coming out of the midfield.
He's instigated another attack there. De Leon's ultimate cross was denied, but
he's very good at just lingering around the 18. In those seams, when he's your first or second attacker, he's not strong enough. He's not. When he's that third guy coming out,
quietly his MLS career. Actually 8th in active goal scorers in league history. Total of 56. So far. Orlando, by the way, Taylor, have used 22 players already this season. You have Adrian Heath having to chop and change things as Ricketts comes out to meet it. And every chance that number will go up with the likes of Martin Patterson still to make his debut. Tally Hall as well. Big third quarter against Atlanta.
That's a 2.
Yeah. Capital in terms of sports tonight. Here at RFK Stadium. which is the only original 1996 venue still remaining in the original 10.
Previous coaches, of course, winning MLS Cup. 3 of the 6 previous coaches have.
Taylor Kemp. Side. Such a history of previous coaches, of course, winning MLS Cup. 3 of the 6.
Fallen short in the playoffs.
Previous coaches have lifted the trophy here. Bruce Arena, Thomas Rongen, Peter Novak. Also has guided his side. The Eastern. Yeah, LA needed to move up the allocation order, didn't they, last summer? The right-hand side. Michael Farfan, and his progress was impeded. This is going to be a free kick. Luke Bowden's process. That he got the ball.
We've seen it a couple times tonight, though. Michael Farfan get at Bowden in these spots and cause some problems because he's quick, technically a little bit more often than he had. Disaster ball, right? But someone that has a little bit more quality that can maybe dink this back post. Keep an eye on Perry Kitchen here, 101 with St. Ledger.
Here it comes, and oh, Ricketts. Is up to claim after it flicked off the head of Sean St. Ledger. Much more was not just taking place tonight. 40. Lower division and amateur sides in the first round. The MLS teams will join in the 4th round later on in the summer. So the shot from distance from Daviano. Well, will they have seen anything like that tonight with the West Virginia chaos, the Southwest Florida adrenaline? The 2 expansion sides we're watching here tonight. I think the Des Moines men, the favourites. Also some interesting news today that Don Garber would be going back to your home city next week to St. Louis, paying another visit in terms of
it's got a history in this country.
Future expansion. Well, this is Eric Avila. His confirmation he's gone in the book. One of the 2 expansion sides we're watching here tonight. Also some interesting news today that Don Garber would be going back to your home city next week to St. Louis, playing another bit in terms of expansion. Kitchen trying to barrel his way through. know there was some speculation earlier on, Taylor, about Perry Kitchen and what his future might hold.
Reported by Grant Wall at SI that there are teams, he's in the last year of his deal, recently capped the United States 2 times. There's potential he's gone.
Teams in the Bundesliga, some Champions League teams from Belgium and Denmark, apparently the interested parties.
Watching the momentum shift in this game a little bit here, Adrian. Over the last 3-4 minutes, you can see Adrian Heath in his face. We haven't seen anything from Kaká. We haven't seen anything from Kyle Larin in this second half. And I think there's a little bit of concern. This is the wherewithal on the road that he's talking about, of having the strength to fight through these lulls, because right now over the last 5-6 minutes it's been more DC United than Orlando City. A little bit here, Adrian. Over the last 3-4 minutes, you can see Adrian
Colin is feeling the pain.
Concern on his face. We haven't seen anything from Kaká. We haven't seen anything from Kyle Larin in this
not
second
in that
half.
dramatic
And I think there's
late
a little bit
equaliser
of
against
concern.
New
This
England.
is the wherewithal on the road that he's talking about, of having the strength to fight through these lulls, because right now over the last 5-6 minutes it's been more DC United than Orlando City. Well, he grabbed his hamstring immediately. That left hamstring he grabbed.
Caught the goal last Friday, one of the biggest of his career. Save a point for Orlando. Of course, feeling the pain. He scored a goal in MLS Cup, which was pretty big. Frenchman is the one that ultimately saved the day for Sporting Kansas City. We're going to see one of the names very much for the future, but also a name they're very excited about in terms of what he brings to the table right now. Miguel Aguilar is going to come on for Michael Farfan.
But looking at Colin and that hamstring, if he's not fit, listen, Seb Hines is listed on the roster, but Adrian Heath this morning talked about Seb Hines not being physically fit for this game. So do you bring on a Tyler Turner and then move Bowden in at center back, which it looks like may be the move? Injuries have just been a problem for this first season for Orlando City early on, Adrian.
Very much for the
Some
future,
decisions that I'm sure Adrian Heath and his staff didn't think they'd have to make this early in the year.
They're very Aurelian Colin has been a permanent fixture at the back for them, other than the tail end of that home opener when she was sent off against NYC, but he's going to play no further part, clearly. Tyler Turner gets his chance.
And he's going to play right in the middle.
Another teenager, 19 years old.
Injuries have just been a problem for this first season.
Under 20 international.
Early on, Adrian. Some decisions that I'm
from,
sure Adrian Heath and his staff didn't
Milford,
think
Connecticut.
this early in the year.
Another teenager, 19 years old. Under 20 international. Can Aguilar provide a spark for DC? Milford, Connecticut. Trying to get involved immediately. Number 17. 21-year-old Mexican who Ben Olsen describes as absolutely relentless.
See, right now, though, Chris Rolfe and Chris Pontius up front, listen, you have Tyler Turner come in. He's playing at center back. That is not his natural position. Immediately, one of you guys got to get on him and get him starting to think about where you are at all times.
There's Aguilar turning it on. De Leon!
Chris Rolfe, right on cue, Adrian. Right on cue, because now what happens? Chris Rolfe pulls off the back shoulder. Now you're giving a young center back different types of runs to deal with. Chris Pontius up front.
It was terrific work from Aguilar to set up the chance for De Leon and Donovan Ricketts, who hadn't really been called upon up to this point.
Because now look, Nick De Leon comes from opposite side. It's off the back shoulder of Tyler Turner. He doesn't see that, and Aguilar finds out a perfect pass. Those are the types of runs that are going to cause some problems for Orlando City for the next 20 minutes.
Just his fourth MLS appearance, Tyler Turner and Sean St. Ledger playing together at the heart of the defence now.
Right on cue, Adrian. Right on cue, because now what happens?
It's been Aurelian Collin and
Chris
Sebastian Hines for the most part, hasn't it, in recent weeks.
Center back, different
Neither of
types
them
of
out there
reps
now. Well, they've gone up to this point.
because
Just his fourth. Avila. Sean St. Ledger. Sarah trying to find the inside channel, Ramos. That's a giveaway from Bowden. And Aguilar. You can sense the excitement here at RFK with Aguilar settling on the ball.
well, there's some urgency to his game, Adrian. Look at him. He's come in here and already 3 or 4 plays. Urgent, very assertive, getting into the attack.
Recent weeks. Grew up in the city of Juarez, right on the border. Texas. Went to Sacramento. 17th pick in the Super Draft this past season. Well, that's a good header and an equaliser. And it's Kofi Apare who's done it. Orlando's resistance ended. And it's a set piece that did it. City of Juarez, right on the border. Texas.
And I go back to talking about the first half set-piece delivery. This is Taylor Kemp, naturally left-footed, whips it in. Now it's in a dangerous spot because now Donovan Ricketts, he has to second guess. Do I come off my line and get that ball? I cannot. It's 7 yards from the goal. Great ball in. And Kofi Apare with a good finish to get DC United back into this game.
Apare with his first goal for the Black and Red. He scored once for LA. That's a big one. It's a set piece that did it. It sets up. Could be a barnstorming final 20 minutes here. DC United, who scored off a set piece against Orlando down at the Citrus Bowl in very different sort of fashion late on there in April. Have done it again,
and it's not a coincidence. An injury to Colin, and then what do you know? DC United score on a set piece. With a good finish to get DC United back into this game.
Apare with his first goal for the Black and Red. He scored once for LA. Now then, that's a big one. Really smelling some blood in the water here, perhaps DC, and that's good work from Kemp. Pontius saw his effort flick behind for another DC corner. Colin sets out, asking for some divine inspiration there. He's on the bench, can hardly bear to look. Kofi Apare. Pontius, the equaliser. This is looking corner, right into the mix. Aguilar.
Pressure's on right now. DC United smell blood in the water. Over the last 10 minutes, the momentum of this game has completely changed to the home team. Set pieces, they've been dangerous. The injury to Colin now gives Apare and DC United some real confidence on set pieces.
Well, there's something about midweek games under the lights, isn't it? Always a special atmosphere. We'll have another one for you next week. Sporting Kansas City against the New England Revolution next Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern, ESPN2. And the Watch ESPN app. Hope you can be with us for that as well. 1-1. Cross comes in. The first half, and their fluid display is a fading memory at the moment for Orlando City, as the Lions have been forced back into a defensive shell.
Some real confidence on set pieces. But it's been the subs in the second half for DC United that have changed this game. Chris Rolfe and Aguilar have come into this game and brought a little bit of life to this attack for DC United.
As the Lions have been forced back into a defensive shell. Another set piece. And Again,
But it's
Taylor
been the
Kemp.
subs in the second half for DC.
It's the man at the controls. The flick on header was from Rolf. Darted in to meet it.
Taylor Kemp's been dangerous. It's whipped him with pace, but it's an outswinging ball. So what is Chris Rolfe? The only thing he can do is get any kind of deflection on it. But Taylor Kemp in this second half has been extremely dangerous on set pieces and brought a little bit of life to this attack for DC United. But now this is where a young forward, Kyle Larin, will have an understanding of what it takes at the highest level to be a center forward. How many touches has Kyle Larin had in this second half? Maybe 2. And
Yeah.
this is your job as a center forward on the road. You've done your job early on in getting the goal. But now at some point you have to be an outlet. You have to keep possession, including Kaká. Orlando City has had none of that in this second half.
Well, they had a chance to try and launch a counter-attack there, and Seren actually was obstructed by Kaká as he tried to break free.
How many touches has Kyle?
Now Kemp.
It's good defending.
Great stout challenge, wasn't there, from Ramos?
But see, right now, where is Kyle Larin? That ball's just not going to do it. That's not the ball you want. If you're Adrian Heath and Orlando here. Now at some point you can.
The resources stretched very thin. You already mentioned all the injuries again. They didn't have enough bodies to fill their bench tonight. Orlando only able to name 6 substitutes. Seb Hines is the only other defensive name on the bench for them.
I wouldn't be shocked here if Ben Olsen just absolutely goes for it. There's a substitution here. You can bring on Arrieta. You can bring on. Where is Kyle Larin? Maybe Birnbaum. I just see Arrieta. Yeah, he's off the bench. Because right now with Tyler Turner dealing with those runners, now you throw Ralph in and around him. Arrieta's the kind of forward that plays off the back shoulder. He'll cause some problems in the last 15 minutes of this game.
Arrieta is up for DC, but so too is Brian Roches for Orlando. Look at Arrieta first as he replaces Nick De Leon.
And Arrieta, you can bring on.
The man they picked up from the Columbus Crew in the offseason. Arrieta, of course, he could be playing for the opponents tonight because Orlando,
right now with Tyler Turner dealing
the team
with those
that had him in the expansion draft and then traded him
that plays off the back
to DC.
I like the substitution though from Adrian Heath. Bring on some fresh legs here for Kyle Larin. Keep that back line of DC United uncomfortable on the counter.
But so too is
good substitution from both coaches.
Well, will the real Brian Roches please stand up? They've been waiting
Bring on some
for the young Honduran to really make his mark and for his season to really kickstart. The 5 substitute appearances so far for the young designated player. Honduran, under 20 international. Seren, meanwhile, has been putting in sterling work, trying to stem the tide in the middle of the park for Orlando.
On the counter. Good substitution from both coaches.
Well, will the real Brian Roches please stand up? They've been waiting for the young Honduran to really make his mark and for a season to really... Taylor Kemp. Guiding it to Franklin, and it comes down to Arrieta getting his first touch. Well, not one he'll remember with any degree of fondness, I don't think. MLS Soccer Special on ESPN, presented by Audi, proud partner of MLS, and in part by Cub Cadet. Welcome to Strongsville. Adrian Healy, Taylor Twellman with you here at RFK as we enter the decisive period of this game, and one that will determine where the points are going. It's DC United who want all 3. It's Rolf and he may have got them all three. At full stretch. Chris Rolfe. Cool as you like.
This is just so good from Chris Rolfe, because now you know, listen, Tyler Turner naturally is a fullback. So now where do you go? You go off the back shoulder. Right here, Tyler Turner doesn't know where Chris Rolfe is. So now Tyler Turner gets caught ball watching, and that's just such a good ball for Marietta to give Chris Rolfe an opportunity to get on the end of. What a great finish. The last 15 minutes has been all DC United, and in large part because of their three substitutions have changed this game. DC up 2-1. Turner gets caught ball watching.
Two of those subs combining off the bench there. Marietta with the perfect service from the man
an opportunity to get on the end of.
About whom his manager said he's classy. His heart rate doesn't get too high in front of goal. Well, Chris Rolfe finished with ice in his veins there. And DC United have turned this around. It has been coming, hasn't it? It's been almost continual one-way traffic
what a great
in this second half. And now, of course, Adrian Heath is the man who has to try and respond.
Has been all DC United,
on another young designated player to try and rescue the situation in Carlos Rivas. And two of those subs combining off the bench there. Fantastic service. Goal. Well, Chris Rolfe's been almost one-way traffic in this second half, and now, of course, Adrian Heath is the man who has to try and respond. The one to Orlando, another young designated player left in the tank to try and rescue the situation in Carlos Rivas. Here's Kaká now. Didn't cross the line, they wanted the corner, but Hamid was there first. I've seen so little of these two young designated players out there together. For Orlando, Roches and Rivas. Orlando left in the tank. Exactly have a long time to try and influence things. This is Arrieta, the man they might have had.
The game turned, though, when Colin came down with an injury. The momentum was changing, but think about it. Colin, defending set pieces, easily one of the top 2 or 3 center backs in this league defending them. And then you look at Chris Rolfe's goal. It's not really Tyler Turner's fault, because inexperience in that position leaves Orlando on the hinge. And listen, Adrian Heath and all the supporters there at home are thinking, what right now? It's one thing every single game, and tonight it's not necessarily a mistake, it's just an injury at a bad time.
Tyler Turner. It's his 4th MLS appearance, Adrian Heath. As assistant Mark Watson alongside.
Colin came down with an injury. The momentum was changing.
His resources,
but think about it.
Stretched to the very limit. Tyler Turner. This is only 10 games into the MLS season as well, Taylor, before the summer internationals come along and national teams start taking players away too. Reality really does bite as an expansion team sometimes. This appearance, Adrian Heath. There's assistant Mark Watson alongside. His resources stretched to the very limit. Ramos. Harrison Heath. Now then, Rivas. Roches waiting a ball in the middle. It's towards him and Kaká. Roches might still get there. He's absolutely surrounded, but
good ball in though from Rivas. You know, Friday night he came in against New England. He's shooting 45 yards out. You're leaving, shaking your head, but already he's come in. Let's just prepare the ball, whip it in. Good start from Rivas coming off the bench here.
The Colombian and the Honduran, Rivas and Roches. Oh, Shea went for it at the near post. Harrison Heath following up. His efforts enough to ensure a second corner. Towards Kaká. Roches might still get there. He's absolutely surrounded, but good ball. Rivas left-footed. Hamid. Some heavy traffic in front of him. Good pressure this for Orlando City. The flick on, Roches is offside. Didn't connect anyway. His efforts enough to ensure a second corner. Clearly the right decision, as you can see. Roches, who was a prolific goal scorer in Honduras. Real España, but I think we've seen with some of the Honduran players who've come here, Taylor, that sometimes the adjustment is not an automatic one. I think
it's with anyone, to be honest. I mean, at halftime, you know, I'm talking about Mix Discrude. I think that's an adjustment for Mix Discrude and foreigners coming over. I think the harder adjustment, though, Adrian, is coming in the summertime. I really believe coming
some of the Honduran players who
July is a more of an adjustment. You know, Jermaine Jones is the only aberration to that. Everyone else that comes over, there's a little bit of a growing period there. I'm talking about Mix Discrude. I think that's an adjustment for Mix Discrude.
Well, you talked about what this summer may have in store for us. It's going to be an intriguing one as always. Some big names being bandied around. We saw Carlos Tevez in action today, didn't we, in the Champions League?
Foreigners coming
over. The reports linking him, one on MLSsoccer.com today.
I think the harder adjustment, biggest name on the field tonight, has been extremely quiet, though. Kaká's had very little to do with anything in this game. Jermaine Jones is the only aberration. There's a little bit of a difference in the Champions League.
Is Aguilar here, one on MLSsoccer.com today.
Biggest name on the field tonight has been extremely quiet, though. Kaká's had very little to do with anything in this game.
DC United, as it stands, are going to be firmly top of the Eastern Conference. A team that have only been beaten once all season long, and that was at Red Bull Arena. Here's Aguilar. That was at Red Bull Arena. Bill Hamid. Montius couldn't quite get there. Rolf. Some clever juggling work. How about that? Now the US women's team back in action on our airwaves Saturday, May the 30th. They'll be hosting South Korea. International friendly. The action kicks off at 4:30 on ESPN. Also live on the Watch ESPN app. It's the US against South Korea. World Cup send-off.
You gonna fix your voice before Sunday or what?
Well, I will try, put it that way. Stocks will go soaring again in CBS. US against South Korea. Those efforts continue. World Cup send-off. Should be something special though on Sunday. Voice or no voice.
Well, yeah, we've already had the pleasure of going down to Orlando once. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I look forward to Sunday. But there's some big decisions and omissions for Adrian Heath. You don't know if Colin's going to be ready with the hamstring, and you don't know what's up with Seb Hines. Injury is just a big part of the equation right now for Orlando City in putting together a starting 11. You know, what's up with Higuita? You know, there's some decisions there. Moby Akugo coming back for this team. If you ask me, and for my money, if I'm making the decision, I'm putting a Moby Akugo at center back. I thought he was very good for Philly last year in that spot. I think his versatility is there. He's a little bit quicker, so that gives him a little bit speed on the back line. They've got numbers at center midfield. They don't have numbers at center back. I wouldn't be shocked on Sunday if we see Akugo at center back.
Yeah, interesting. The LA Galaxy will be a thorough examination again for Orlando City. They still seek their first home win. No such problems for DC United. Look like they have a win.
He was very good for
the national spotlight.
In that spot. I think his versatility is there. He's a little bit quicker, so that gives him a little bit speed on the back line. They've got numbers at center midfield. They don't have numbers at center back. I wouldn't be shocked on Sunday if we see Akugo at center back.
Yeah, interesting. Galaxy examination. Problems for deep spotlight. It's going to be 4 minutes of stoppage time, so it's not a done deal yet as Luke Bowden is on his way. Remember, Orlando scored late on to deny the Revolution a victory on Friday. And they will want to repay DC United for scoring late on against them.
I'm not sure how that's a goal kick, Adrian.
No.
But he literally cleared it right off of Bobby Boswell.
He's an Orlando original, Luke Bowden, played with them since 2011, a real fan favorite down there. It's going to be 4 minutes of stoppage time, so it's not a done. Oh yeah, it's Bowden is on his way. Scorution of DC United.
Off of Bobby Boswell.
Jazz. He's an Orlando original, Luke Bowden. There's a foul in the center circle, so the visitors will have a free kick. Kaká set to place this down, and some of the imposing weaponry will make its way forward. Bowden playing with them since 2011, a real fan favorite down there. Flick on, Shea with the second one, still up for grabs. They wanted a handball. The DC United defense, that is.
Tyler Turner does a wonderful job of keeping this alive. Watch this ball come up, but Rivas has to be on his toes. We saw it in the first half with Kyle Larin. He's on his toes, he's reactive right there. Good opportunity for Rivas to get a shot on goal. This team just does not quit. We saw it last week, we saw it in the home opener.
With the second one, still up for grabs.
They're killing themselves with some mistakes, with injuries and whatnot, but they just don't go away. Tyler Turner does a wonderful job of keeping this alive. Watch this ball come up, but Rivas has to be on his toes. We saw it in the first half of Kyle Larin.
Plants it long.
He's on his toes, he's reactive right there.
It's St. Ledger who won the header. He'll stay forward. Ramos. Kofi Apare clear. Kaká. Can he produce something special? No, he can't.
That's just so good from Perry Kitchen. That is so good from Perry Kitchen.
St. Ledger.
93rd minute, digging in, defending, fighting for every inch. That's big time.
That's why he's part of the national team picture. That's why he's the radar of
That's just
some big European clubs.
Because right before that, Kaká had the half a step, but Perry Kitchen didn't give up, gets in, gets stuck in, good tackle. That's big. So good from Perry Kitchen. That is so good from Perry Kitchen.
They are nearly there. Final
93rd minute, digging in,
stoppage time. Ramos furious with himself.
That's big time.
He played that straight team into touch.
You know, Adrian Heath described DC United very well yesterday in saying it's a man's team. It's a team full of men. You know what you're going to get. You're going to have to fight for every inch. And yes, it's not a great team, but it's a good team that is extremely effective in making you work for it. DC United this second half has put it on Orlando.
Last hurrah for the visitors, but it'll go no further than that. DC United have turned this game upside down with a sterling second half effort. Chris Rolfe with the ultimate game winner, his third of the season. DC United continue to fly high. They sit atop the Eastern Conference all by themselves.
In the change of this game, which is the Heineken moment of our match, 3 substitutions for DC United came in. 2 of them combined for the game winner. I just love the combination of Arrieta picking up his head, but then giving Chris Rolfe the opportunity to pull off the back shoulder. Tyler Turner can't find Chris Rolfe, and that's the game winner at home.
Ben Olsen giving his thanks to the men in the middle. Not sure it's exactly what he's saying, but he will take the 3 points and say thank you very much. The Barra Barra, the Screaming Eagles are happy. Aurelian Collin has pain written all over his face.
Well, that injury completely changed this game because, yes, the momentum was switching to DC United, but Orlando was doing a good job of weathering that storm. When Collin came out, it fell apart for Orlando City.
So many questions for the Orlando City Lions to ponder as they head back, nursing just their second defeat on their travels this year. And the game in which they played a great first 45 minutes, but the second 45 really had no answer. Changes both in approach and in personnel from Ben Olsen's DC United made all the difference for the second half. City Lions to ponder as they DC United nursing just their second defeat to a grand total of 21 points from their first 10 games. Played a great first equals their best ever start in team history. And they are the side that sit atop the Eastern Conference all by themselves. And the game winner, Chris Rolfe, is with us now. Chris, this has to feel good. I know points have come and gone recently at home in games in which you've scored first and ended up tying. This has to feel a lot better tonight.
I think we're a little disappointed with the first half again, but look, we finally got the change of mentality that we've been looking for, and we're really happy with the result tonight.
Chris, you came in the second half. What did you see the first half that you felt you could exploit? And then I think the substitution of Tyler Turner gave you an opportunity to maybe exploit that back line of Orlando City.
Yeah, it looked like there was a gap in between the holding midfielders and the center backs that I could